Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. I'm very pleased to have Kaelan Hayes with me here today. Kaelan is not only on the radiological care team at the Mayo Clinic here in Arizona, but using his skills he honed during his tenure with the United States Air Force, but is also the founder of Drip Squad Hydration, a mobile IV therapy company based here in Phoenix. Welcome to the show, Kaelan.
Hey, Tim, thanks for having me.
All right, we were just talking a little bit of real estate market stuff because he was last stationed at Wright-Patterson in Southwest Ohio, so he's giving me the skinny on some of the stuff there. But you're from Phoenix originally. You came back, is that right?
Correct. Yeah, I've been here
Okay.
since I was a kid. I was in Ohio for a few years when I was in the Air Force, and then my wife, who I met out in Ohio, we decided to move back here.
Okay. And how's she taking Arizona?
She loves the heat. There's
Okay,
no there's
good.
no snow. You don't have to
That's a
shovel the
big win.
sunshine. Yeah,
All right.
exactly. Yeah, but she's liking it.
Okay. Excellent. And did you go to ASU or University of Arizona
U
for
of A,
nursing? Okay.
Wildcat. Hmm.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, why don't you just jump right in, sort of a snapshot of Drip Squad Hydration and how that started and your goals for it.
Yeah, so when I got out of the Air Force, I always knew I wanted to start a business of some kind of my own, and we sort of went through a lot of different iterations of things. And in my, sort of analyzing what I'm good at and what I could offer, I was pretty good at IVs. At Mayo Clinic, I do IVs and infusions all
Okay.
day, every day. So I
Right.
became really good at vascular access, even trained to use ultrasound. And it was actually
Okay.
a few Christmases ago, I had some spare IV stuff lying around, and
Okay.
my brother and one of my cousins had a little too much to drink when we were celebrating, and they weren't feeling really good. And I was like,
Right.
"Oh, I got you guys. I have
I
some
got
IV
you.
stuff. Let's do this." And I gave them some IVs, and they felt great. And they said, "You should do this as a business." And then
Right.
the concept was born from there. And
Okay.
so we wanted to create a business where we focused a lot on the health and wellness aspect, and not try to just upsell people on random things, but really promote health, both preventative health and just general wellness. So our menu kind of reflects that. And when we meet with our clients and patients, stuff like that, we make sure we break down what they're getting, why they're getting it, what it does, how it helps them, and just kind of give them that info to better their own health afterwards.
Okay. Now it's not just hydration. There's all sorts of special cocktails and different things you can put in there and tailor for different people's needs and so forth, right? Can you speak to that a little
Yeah.
bit?
Yeah, so we offer a bunch of different sort of cocktails of things, but we can make custom ones. So a lot of what you'll see are things like essential vitamins and amino acids, even things like NAD or Zofran if someone has nausea. It
Okay.
just kind of depends what somebody's looking for. So uh, like athletes, we have some drips that we give to athletes and stuff like that, whether they're preparing for a hard workout or marathon or recovering from a hard workout. There's things like taurine and carnitine and B vitamins and stuff in there to help reduce lactic acid and help give them
Okay.
more energy through those things. And then we have ones for if you're an expectant mother and you're suffering from severe morning sickness. That's where the Zofran comes in. Or
Right.
even if you just had a crazy weekend out with some friends or something and you're just not feeling too well, we have sort of migraine and hangover cocktails and stuff like that. So
Okay.
different mixtures for different people, just depending on what they're looking for.
What percentage would you say is elderly versus younger crowds and so forth? Can you talk a little bit about the demographic of
Yeah,
clients?
I'd say vast majority, like 80% is probably, like 60 and below.
Okay.
And then typically people 60 and above, we'll see for things like, chronic migraines or people who want stuff like more cellular detox type things. Like maybe they're doing a special kind of diet or they just kind of want to detox their system and flush some of those toxins out. We have drips for that. So it kind of differs on what they're looking for. The younger crowds more so like recovery from workouts, a lot of pregnancy stuff for nausea,
Okay.
hangovers, stuff like that.
Is that what's like the timeline for a mobile service for hangovers, right? Do people want it at night or in the morning? Is it How does
Great
that work?
question. Great question. I'd say like 70% want it in the morning.
Okay.
And then you get some people who have that foresight and like, well, I'm gonna need this. And they'll kind of
Okay.
schedule it that night, which is great because it can kind of prevent the hangover altogether if you do it early enough.
Right.
So
Can
yeah.
you do that out of like a van, like a food truck thing? You pull up to the bar when everybody's leaving type thing?
You could do it in like a way like that. Really, you don't need a whole lot besides just the IV supplies
Right.
and my IV poles. And so,
Hmm.
I mean, you could do it out on the sidewalk really if you really felt compelled to do that. Set up like a lemonade stand type deal.
Right.
But yeah, and that's the beauty of mobile. We can bring it wherever we people need us, homes, offices, parties, wherever.
Okay. Okay. I was thinking about the elderly because I was at a real estate conference this weekend, and a lot of the people I used to be a little more active in the space about 10 years ago, but the care homes, right, assisted
Hmm.
living and other stuff, they benefit out very much from that type of service, and
Yeah.
I'm starting to see more of it in there. I was wondering if you had any affiliates in that area yet.
Not yet. That's something we're looking into. When you go into like mobile homes and nursing homes and stuff like that, there's a few more legal hurdles you have to get through, as opposed to just showing up at somebody's doorstep. There's like facility approval you need, some like insurance type things as well, depending on certain clients and patients. So a
Hmm.
little more red tape to get through, but it's definitely
Okay.
something that they benefit from a lot.
Right, right. Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. For sure. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. What are some of the common misconceptions that you deal with when people call you up?
I'd say the number one misconception is that people say, "Oh, well, why don't I just drink a Gatorade and do the same thing?" And that, obviously, yes, please still hydrate. Don't not drink water or Gatorade. I even had a client say, "Well, can I just do this instead of drinking?" I'm like, no. Please drink water. Please hydrate. This is meant to supplement and help that. When you drink something like Gatorade or you take a vitamin or supplement or something like that, your body has to, digest that, break it down, absorb it, and it's not always optimal absorption of those nutrients
Right,
from that digestive process. So the IV hydration kind of cuts out the middleman, so to speak, and we just get those nutrients right to your cells. Cells uptake it all, and you're basically getting the maximum bang for your buck for whatever infusion you're getting.
right, right. Back to the drinking part. I've seen more lately about is it the aldehydes? There's
Mhm.
different buildups of things. Can you do things to mitigate some of those effects?
We do, yeah. So I'd say one of the probably like top three drips that people sign up for is our cellular detox drip.
Okay.
And so that essentially just flushes out all the toxins from your body. It aids kidneys and liver in metabolizing and processing out things, but flushes out stuff like, aldehydes or, if
Which are one of the
someone's
byproducts of drinking at night, right?
exactly,
Okay.
exactly, exactly. So it kind of goes hand in hand with that. Helps flush it out and just helps give your cells a little more energy and help increase mental clarity and stuff like that. That's definitely one of our bigger ones at the moment.
Okay. Okay. And then competition in the space. Have you seen other groups come and go, and have you seen trends in the industry? And
We
because like 10 years ago, this wasn't much of a thing either, right? So
mhm.
is it crested, or is it still, are there people, is the market stabilizing? Where is that at?
I think it's starting to stabilize. And we're here in Phoenix, we're a mile from the sun most of the year. So there's a lot of hydration clinics out there, both mobile and brick and mortar. And I think now that that boom is starting to die down a little bit. As it's gotten more popular, there's been a lot more regulations put in place because it used to be a
Okay.
little a little more of an unregulated
The Wild
market.
West of,
Exactly, exactly.
okay.
And so now there's a lot more regulatory bodies scrutinizing different companies, and you need to make sure you have your ducks in a row from having physician or nurse practitioner oversight to making sure everybody's licensed to mix and give
Right.
medications. There's rules on how much you could put in an IV admixture. There's all these different things that you got to be
Okay.
paying attention to now, and I think as those regulations came cracking down, some other companies kind of just dissipated with the wind, kind of just didn't want to
Okay.
do it anymore, or I think you get a lot of people that sort of underestimate the amount of time and effort it might take to start up a business like this, especially in an area where there's a lot of competition. So I think we finally hit that peak and it's starting to just kind of level
Okay.
out now.
Okay. I'm back on affiliates now.
Good, yeah.
Gyms and stuff, right? I
Hmm.
just switched over from Mountainside Fitness to Lifetime, and they have a lot of services and and recovery and other things. That sounds like it might be a really good affiliate for those type. I don't know. You maybe you sponsor, right? Like those Spartan or ultra marathons or other sort of running events and things like that. Are those things viable
Yeah,
partnerships?
it's funny you mentioned that because we're actually talking to a few different gyms and groups and organizations for that
Okay.
exact purpose. A lot of them want a kind of service like that for their athletes, especially when you get to more like athletic focused gyms and stuff like that.
Right.
That's definitely a service they want. Even places like golf courses have reached out to us to offer
Oh,
some of that stuff
wow.
to their clients. We're
Yeah.
in
I've
talks
been
with
on the
the
course in the summer and I'd have paid for some. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty hot out there in that sunlight. We're talking to the Phoenix Raceway for NASCAR right now to get some stuff out there for their,
Hmm.
just track
Yeah.
staff and
That thing's
stuff like that.
huge. I'd
Yeah,
never been
very
there
big.
before. I went there last year for the NASCAR finale, but first of all, it was really loud. But it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like huge. It was so many. They have a Walmart in the mobile home or the RV park.
Oh,
They
I
set
didn't
up a
know that.
Walmart in the middle. There's so many. It's a city. It's just crazy. They
Wow,
set up a Walmart in the middle of the RVs.
that's amazing.
There's a lot of people there, and
Yeah,
there's some dehydration to be sure.
absolutely.
Okay, okay, yeah, that's a great idea. Um, what's going on? Yeah, the state fair is ending right now. That's the only other big event I can think of right now. But it's not, the
Hmm.
heat broke, so we're pretty good right now.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
but you don't need much. You just need what? A couple of chairs and a couple of stands, and let people sit there for a minute. And
Yep,
how lo-
couple of
how
chairs.
long? How long? What's the time commitment per client?
It depends on a few factors from what drip they want to if they have any comorbidities like heart failure or renal failure, then we scrutinize a little more how fast we run those IVs. But if it's just, average healthy person, no severe heart or kidney issues, and they want, like the cellular detox drip or something like that. From start to finish, the process would be no more than an hour.
Okay,
Starting an IV is pretty quick. And then we just make sure IV's working properly, let that bad boy run, and we kind of titrate it to where they tolerate it. Most people can tolerate it pretty quick, but
okay,
some people want a little slower. If
okay,
they're a new client, we have them do a medical screening with our medical director.
okay.
So
Those are some of my next questions.
yeah,
Assessing risk and stuff. So yeah, please dive in.
yeah. So say you're just a totally new patient, you would go on our website or whatever link you find us, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and it's
Okay.
going to take you to our booking page. From there, you book your drip and time, date, all that. Then it's going to have you fill out some info on yourself to include our infusion consent form and then medical history form. That medical history form is going to get looked at by our medical director. So if you're a new patient, I say you book the drip at your home, I would show up at your home at the established time. I go over a few things with you. I grab a quick set of vitals, heart rate, blood pressure, oxygen, listen to
Okay.
your heart and lungs, all that stuff. And then we do a quick call with the medical director. I tell him my assessment findings. He already sees your medical history. He just reviews that with the patient, making sure there's
Okay.
no big changes. And then he gives the final yes or no for the drip, which, unless there's any huge thing like, again, heart failure, renal failure, something like that, um, you're good to go. And then from there, I administer the drip. That whole onboarding process only adds another like 10, 15 minutes to it. It's pretty quick.
Okay. Okay. So let's say you have like a booth at Country Thunder concert or some outdoor, right, venue thing.
Hmm.
Uh people get in line, they got to sign up and reserve a time and do all that, and then you need service enough to go send the information to a medical director to approve it before the
Yeah,
on-site staff can go ahead and administer it.
so for if it was like, at Country Thunder or something,
Hmm.
we can tweak our process a little bit just to streamline it so they won't have to. book online or something. We'll have our staff there. We'll have everybody there. So part of the process will be just A, signing their consent, and then B, going over if they have um, you know, any like heart failure, renal failure, any recent surgeries, any big things. And our medical director would either be with us or we can just reach out to him real quick. But generally, for something like that, as long as there's no major issues that we would identify as the
Right.
aforementioned conditions, our director could be like, okay, if they meet this criteria, they get the automatic go ahead, they sign the consent, they know the risks of if they hold out any, pertinent medical
Information.
info.
Right.
Exactly, exactly. And then if someone
Because
does have
people
something,
sometimes lie.
exactly, exactly. So, that's what the consents are stuff there for. But if someone does have a question or an issue, our medical director would either be with us or just a quick phone call away.
Okay. Now, can you talk a little bit about some of the risks and sort of like some of I'm not saying this, I don't want to scare everybody listening, but what's sort of the worst case scenario, right? Because your fluids get off and your vitals start going weird, and you can usually, it's probably a very safe place to be if you're going to have an issue.
Yeah.
But what's sort of the worst case scenario that you've seen, maybe?
So thankfully, we haven't seen any, severe reactions or issues, but
Hmm.
the potential is always there anytime you get any sort of medication or therapy. The big ones for this would be like an allergic reaction. So,
Okay.
someone ends up having an allergy to some type of vitamin or admixture that they didn't know, but they're reacting to it. It can range from something as mild as, oh, I'm a little itchy, or I have, a little bit of a rash here. Or it could be something as severe as, anaphylactic shock.
Right.
Typically, for something mild, you can give something like Benadryl, just oral Benadryl, and that will really take care of that. And we have procedures to document these reactions for the future.
Right.
If it's something anaphylactic related, all of our staff are all licensed nurses. So yeah, we know our protocols. We have our own emergency protocols listed. So it includes stuff like obviously immediately stopping the drip, whatever's causing
Right.
the reaction, alerting EMS, and then taking whatever actions we need, whether it's administering medications, helping protect the airway, stuff like that, until EMS arrives and takes over.
Okay. Okay. And I imagine that's crazy rare. I've never heard of it, but I'm sure it's possible. So,
Yeah, it's always possible. It's very atypical for something like IV hydration, where it's
right.
it's a lot of vitamins and aminos and stuff
Right.
like that. But
Generally very benign.
exactly, exactly.
Okay. Okay. So was this pretty scary to start out and do start up your own company?
It was, I'm a man of medicine, so medicine stuff's my jam. Business stuff, I had to do a lot of learning along the way.
Sure.
So I actually reached out to a few other mobile IV businesses around the country,
Okay.
just kind of networking online, asking questions, seeing what they did, lessons they learned, any tips they had.
Is there a
Um,
franchise available probably?
there is, I think there's one big one in Arizona, or two maybe that I know of franchise wise. And the people I reached out to weren't franchise chains. They just started their own thing.
Right.
And yeah, nobody was gatekeeping info or anything. Everyone was super nice
Yep.
and just
Okay.
really helped me with a lot of especially like the legal
Nice.
aspects and stuff.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. I imagine they're similar people, right? You're kind of of their tribe as well,
Hmm.
right? So they have a kind of an abundance mindset, and you're not in their market, you said, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that was another thing. I was like, okay, I'm gonna find some people outside my market, make it low pressure, stuff like that.
Right. I had some people this weekend asking about when you're buying, a multi-million-dollar property or something, and there's risk in everything, like you said earlier. It said, well, how do you get over the fear, and how do when do you feel ready and stuff? And I remember I don't know if it's famous, but it's a saying that I like, that it's uh, being ready is not a feeling, it's a decision.
Hmm. Absolutely.
So it was hard anyway. But when did you first start your company?
We started over this past summer, so it was about a year of planning and getting everything together. And then in July,
Okay,
we
you
officially
launched.
launched. We did a bit of a soft launch earlier than that, just to kind of test the process, and iron out any kinks. But we did our formal public launch in July.
Okay. How many people are on the squad?
Right now, our squad is about 5 people,
Okay.
as we're growing. So we kind of have people covering different parts of the valley and stuff like that. And as we've been growing, seeing our steady growth, we're looking at adding more people and stuff in there.
Okay.
Obviously, we can't be everywhere at once, so
Sure.
we'll need more people on the squad to help out.
I imagine it might be nice to have almost like Uber, right? Where you have a network. So maybe you can buy other practices in other parts or collaborate with them and have different people as independent contractors taking up your right. So oh, I have something. Yeah, I have a few people at Talking Stick who want somebody, and my people are down in the West Valley right now. So, but somebody else has some freelance guys over here, and you can. Is there a network like that you can share that type of service provider?
Not that I'm aware of right now, but
Okay,
that is a great idea to kind of have, just people on standby.
right,
Everyone, all the nurses that work for us are all contractors, all 1099. So there's definitely potential to set up a little bit of like a sort of, Uber IV hydration network there.
right. I mean, because are there so I don't imagine you have exclusive contracts with they might be able to contract if they spend half their time in Flagstaff and half their time down here, and there's an IV company up there, they can work for both.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. We're not
Right.
we're not gonna, gatekeep them contract wise and stuff.
Right, right. So that's kind of what I see with like Lyft and Uber. They find different like, oh well, whichever one gives me something in the time window and the geographical area that I'm currently in, that they could work for it. So that's
Yeah.
interesting. Okay.
hmm
Do you have plans on acquiring any existing clients, or I mean, you started your own brand and you're going to start
hmm
growing your own brand, but if I don't know like their book of business and do they have repeat clients, and is that something you can start growing faster by acquiring existing companies that may want to sunset?
Yeah, if there's some companies that want to sunset, that would definitely be a possibility and a conversation to have with them. Just to kind of offload their, kind of just absorb their practice and their
Yep.
client stuff. That would be pretty easy because the with all those regulations we talked about earlier, that the standards for practice are pretty ubiquitous now, so it'd be pretty easy to just sort of combine two entities.
Okay.
Right now, we're finding a lot of partners out in the Phoenix area. So,
Okay.
the raceway, golf courses, gyms, even local wellness influencers we're partnering with to make content and partnerships and set
Okay.
up little wellness tents and stuff at their places.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. So what are sort of the bigger goals for you for like the next 18 months?
Next 18 months, we definitely want to expand a little bit more. Right now, we're mainly like East and North Valley.
Okay.
We have one person over in the West Valley right now, but we want to really expand over into that area. It's sort of, half valley over there. So we want to
Sure.
expand more into there, as well as continue some of the partnerships that we have started up right now. So our big ones right
Right.
now are some local golf courses around here, like I was mentioning, partnering with them, and that's been going really well, as well as wedding events. So that's been a bigger thing we just recently got into was
Okay.
weddings and stuff. So we've been going out to a few wedding expos. We'll be at the Arizona Wedding Expo in January.
Huh.
And yeah, it kind of goes hand in hand with the festivities. We have drips for skin care and radiance. Obviously, hangover ones for maybe a party that got a little too crazy, or even just ones
Okay.
for energy, just on your big day. Make sure you have lots of
Sure.
energy, you're attentive,
Yeah. You
stuff like that.
firing
So
on all cylinders.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay. Very cool. Now you got me thinking of West Side, like the Cardinals. Do they have like an official affiliate service there already?
I don't think they have an official affiliate service.
Okay.
And our
Can you imagine
medical
being the IV uh, the official IV supplier of the Arizona Cardinals? That'd be a nice one.
that would be fantastic. And we're leaning into that athletic market as well. Our
Right.
medical director's working on some things with some collegiate basketball teams and things like that. So definitely that'd be
Sure.
a big goal in the future.
Okay. Yeah. Got to work up to it and show a track record and so forth.
Exactly. hmm
Nice. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Um, are there any particular hurdles to your growth plans right now? What are the biggest things you got to accomplish?
Just scaling appropriately. So, between all of the projects and partnerships we're doing and, our current team size and where we want it to be, just making sure we scale that growth appropriately and don't bite off more than we can chew. With all these big events we have going on, sometimes it can be a little hard to sync schedules up or, be at these big expos all weekend, 8 hours a
Right.
day. And, so just making sure we scale our staff and our, clientele appropriately
Okay.
will be our big
Okay.
thing.
Okay. Okay. And which is harder for you right now, acquiring a talent or clients?
I would say clients right now,
Okay.
just because it's a little bit of a saturated market as it kind of levels out. So,
Okay.
just making sure your brand is easily distinguishable, which is something we've heavily been working on. And then just making sure you kind of get rid of those stigmas and phobias. Obviously, people don't like needles. No one likes getting poked with a needle. That understandable. So just helping people feel more comfortable with the idea of getting an IV and some mobile hydration
Okay.
is the big thing. Some people just don't want to do it because they're scared of needles. Some
Sure.
people have that mentality of, oh, just drink a Gatorade. So just kind of breaking that misinformation and those stigmas is a big,
Okay.
big thing.
Okay. Um, I have good veins. Everybody's like, I could hit yours from across the room, sort of thing. But uh, some people not so much, and I
Mhm.
imagine that's a challenge. Is it easier? Does it get harder in the elderly, for example?
It does. So, typically as we grow older, our, skin, all the layers below kind of lose their elasticity, so it becomes a little more loose, and all the connective tissue that's anchoring your veins in place
Okay.
loosens
So
up. So
they roll.
they,
Is that the
yeah,
term?
you got it, you got it. Yeah, they
Okay.
roll around, they get all wonky. So it gets harder with age, which is one of the reasons why we train all of our staff in ultrasound IV
Oh,
placement to be vascular access specialists is the
wow.
technical
Okay.
term. So, whether you're elderly and just have hard vasculature, or if somebody had something like chemotherapy that is really hard on your veins, or maybe you're just unfortunately born with just hard to find veins or something like that. Sometimes they're a little bit
Sure.
deeper and it's hard to feel. That's where the ultrasound comes in. We can, within seconds, find a suitable vein, just guide that IV right in there, one stick every time, regardless of, how
Nice.
hard your veins are.
Okay, nice. That's
Mhm.
cool. That's cool. I was thinking a little bit about the seasonal aspect of Arizona. I mean, obviously, summer would be the busy season. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
By like a factor of two. I mean, what is winter compared to? I mean, because you have more snowbirds, which maybe make up for it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say the types of drips people want are what shifts the most. So
Okay.
in the summer, it's a lot of just hydration with vitamins and things like that. People are dehydrated, they were out in the sun, playing sports, working, whatever. In the fall and winter, that shifts since it's more cold and flu season. What we
Hmm.
see a lot more of are like immunity drips and stuff like that to help people
Uh,
recover from illness and stuff like that. That's like the big
okay.
big shift there.
Okay. Excellent. All right, Kalen. Okay, here's a reflection question as we wrap things up here. I like to ask people sometimes, what do you wish you knew sooner about success and wealth in your career?
I wish I knew more about the importance of collaborating. At first, as I was learning, I was trying to do a lot of it on my own,
Yeah,
and it's pretty hard and it gets overwhelming. And that's when I really started reaching out to those other businesses and
okay.
business owners and just other people around the country,
No
and
reason to
that
reinvent the wheel.
exactly, exactly. No reason to reinvent the wheel or struggle on my own. When there's all these people out there who will help guide me through the process and give me some good tips and tricks.
Okay, excellent. So, Kalen, if people want to connect with you or learn more about Drip Squad, what can they do? Where should they go?
We have a few ways you can reach out to us. We have our email, which is dripsquadaz@gmail.com. The easiest way is probably going to be through our social media. You'll find us on Instagram and Facebook, Drip Squad AZ for both of those. Those will have links to our email, our website, and our phone number as well.
Okay. Okay. Do you have an app or anything where people can order and reserve their time and all that?
We do. So we partnered with it's called the Jane app. They do a lot of electronic health records for small clinics like us.
Okay.
They just released an app for our clients. So it's an app you can download and have it on your phone. That way, when you get all signed up and you're thinking, oh, I'm not feeling well, I want an IV or whatever condition you might have, it's as easy
Okay.
as going on the app, booking your drip, booking your time, done.
Nice. Very
Mhm.
cool. All right. That's great. All right. Thank you. Anything else I should have asked or you wanted to share that I didn't get to?
I think we hit it all. That was
All
awesome.
right. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. Thank you. All right. Thank you everybody for listening and watching. Thank you very much, Kaelan Hayes, for joining me today. Appreciate you sharing your story and your insights into that industry. It's very cool.
Thank you for having me. It was really awesome.
Inspired by our guests? Visit phoenixprosperitypodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.